Bonnie Tyler, the Welsh singer whose powerful voice had filled stadiums and radio stations for nearly 50 years, had died at the age of 75. Within minutes, television networks, radio stations, and news websites interrupted their regular programming to report the loss. For millions of people, it was hard to believe that the woman behind songs like Total Eclipse of the Heart and It's a Heartache was gone. Her family confirmed that Bonnie passed away peacefully in a hospital in Faro, Portugal, where she had been receiving treatment for several weeks. According to the official statement, her death came after serious complications following emergency intestinal surgery. The news spread quickly across Europe, the United States, Australia, and many other countries where her music had touched generations of listeners. Fans gathered outside concert venues where she had once performed. Others left flowers, candles, handwritten notes, and copies of her albums. Social media filled with memories. Some people shared videos from concerts they had attended years earlier. Others posted stories about hearing her songs during important moments in their lives. Her music had become part of weddings, road trips, family celebrations, and even difficult times when people needed comfort. Many artists who had worked with Bonnie Tyler over the years also paid tribute. Fellow musicians remembered not only her unmistakable voice but also her kindness behind the scenes. Producers spoke about her professionalism. Band members remembered her sense of humor during long tours. Even after decades in the music business, Bonnie had never lost her appreciation for the people who supported her career. For years, Bonnie had divided her time between homes in Wales, England, and Portugal with her husband, Robert Sullivan. Away from the stage, she preferred a quiet life. She enjoyed spending time with family, relaxing near the coast, and staying out of the spotlight whenever she wasn't performing. Friends often described her as warm, funny, and much more private than many people expected. Although she had continued performing well into her 70s, those closest to her knew that the previous few months had become increasingly difficult. Small health concerns slowly turned into something much more serious. At first, very little information was shared publicly. Concert dates were quietly postponed, and fans simply hoped she would recover soon. No one imagined that only weeks later, the world would be mourning one of Britain's most recognizable voices. Bonnie Tyler's final health battle began earlier in 2026. While spending time in Portugal, she suddenly developed severe abdominal pain that required immediate medical attention. Doctors quickly determined that emergency intestinal surgery was necessary. The operation was performed as soon as possible in an effort to treat the life-threatening condition. After surgery, Bonnie remained in intensive care. Doctors placed her in a medically induced coma to give her body the best chance to recover. Her family released careful updates, asking fans to keep her in their thoughts while respecting their privacy. Those statements gave hope. Medical staff reported small signs of improvement, and for a short time it appeared that Bonnie might overcome another difficult challenge. As the days passed, however, her condition became more complicated. Recovery from major intestinal surgery can be difficult, especially for older patients. Despite the efforts of doctors and nurses, Bonnie developed serious complications that her body could not overcome. Throughout those weeks, Robert Sullivan rarely left her side. Married for more than 50 years, he had been with Bonnie through every stage of her remarkable career. He had watched her become an international superstar, celebrated her greatest successes, and stood beside her during personal disappointments and health struggles. Now he spent long days inside the hospital, hoping for one more chance to bring her home. Family members also remained close. They limited public appearances and focused entirely on Bonnie's care. While rumors spread online about her condition, those closest to her chose not to respond to speculation. Instead, they relied on official medical updates and asked everyone to wait patiently. Behind the hospital walls, doctors continued doing everything possible. Specialists monitored her condition around the clock. Every small improvement offered hope, but every setback reminded the family how serious the situation had become. Then, on July 8, 2026, Bonnie Tyler died in the hospital in Faro, Portugal. She was 75 years old. The announcement was brief but deeply emotional. It thanked the medical team who had cared for her and expressed gratitude for the countless messages of support sent by fans from around the world. Almost immediately, radio stations began playing her greatest hits as a tribute. Television programs looked back on her extraordinary career, and newspapers dedicated front pages to the singer whose unique voice had become one of the most recognizable in popular music. For Robert Sullivan, however, the headlines were only part of the story. Behind every news report was the loss of the woman he had loved for more than half a century. While the public remembered Bonnie Tyler as an international music icon, he was mourning the person who had shared his everyday life, his happiest moments, and his greatest challenges. Long before the sold-out concerts and platinum records, Bonnie Tyler was simply Gaynor Hopkins, a young girl growing up in the small Welsh town of Skewen. She was born on June 8, 1951, into a hard-working family. Her father worked in the coal industry, and her mother loved music and encouraged singing at home. It wasn't a wealthy household, but it was one filled with determination and strong family values. As a child, Bonnie dreamed of becoming a singer. She admired artists she heard on the radio and spent hours practicing whenever she could. Like many young people chasing a dream, she worked ordinary jobs while trying to break into the music business. She entered local talent competitions, performed in clubs, and slowly built confidence in front of live audiences. Everything changed in the mid-1970s when music producer David McKay noticed her talent. Around the same time, she adopted the stage name Bonnie Tyler. It was a fresh start and the beginning of a career that would soon reach audiences around the world. One event would shape her career forever. In 1977, Bonnie underwent surgery to remove vocal cord nodules. Doctors told her she needed complete vocal rest while recovering. But eager to get back to normal, she spoke before her voice had fully healed. The result was permanent. Instead of the smoother voice she once had, Bonnie developed the deep, raspy sound that later became her trademark. What first seemed like a setback became the very thing that made her unforgettable. That same year, It's a Heartache became an international hit. The song climbed charts across Europe, North America, and many other countries. Suddenly, Bonnie Tyler was no longer just a singer from Wales. She was an international recording artist. Her success continued through the years, but the biggest moment of her career arrived in 1983 with Total Eclipse of the Heart. Written by Jim Steinman, the dramatic ballad became one of the defining songs of the decade. It reached #1 in multiple countries and introduced Bonnie's powerful voice to millions of new listeners. Even decades later, the song remained a favorite on streaming platforms, radio stations, movies, and television shows. Younger generations who had never seen Bonnie perform live still discovered her music through that timeless recording. Unlike many artists whose popularity fades after one successful era, Bonnie continued touring year after year. She performed across Europe, North America, Australia, and Asia. Fans admired not only her voice but also her energy. Even in her 70s, she often spent hours on stage, smiling, laughing with audiences, and delivering the songs people had waited years to hear live. Off stage, however, fame never became the center of her life. Robert Sullivan remained the constant person beside her through every success. The couple married in 1973, years before Bonnie became a worldwide star. Robert stayed away from publicity as much as possible, choosing business over celebrity life. Their relationship lasted because they protected it from unnecessary attention. Bonnie often said that having a stable marriage helped her survive the pressures of the music industry. While tours took her around the world, home was always where Robert was waiting. By the beginning of 2026, Bonnie Tyler was still making plans for the future. Although she had reduced the number of concerts she performed each year, she had not announced retirement. She remained excited about meeting fans and continuing to perform the songs that had defined her life. Then everything changed unexpectedly. While staying in Portugal, Bonnie became seriously ill. What first appeared to be a sudden medical emergency quickly turned into a life-threatening situation requiring immediate surgery. Doctors performed emergency intestinal surgery and moved her to intensive care afterward. News of her hospitalization spread quickly, but her family remained careful about what they shared publicly. They asked supporters to respect Bonnie's privacy while doctors focused on her recovery. During the first days after surgery, there were encouraging reports. Medical staff saw small signs that she was responding to treatment. Friends and fans hoped she would recover just as she had overcome previous health challenges during her long life. But recovery from major surgery is never guaranteed. As days turned into weeks, complications developed. Her condition became increasingly serious despite continuous treatment from specialists. Robert Sullivan stayed close throughout the entire ordeal. Family members visited regularly, hoping for positive news from doctors. Outside the hospital, fans from around the world continued sending messages of support. Flowers arrived. Cards filled with handwritten prayers were delivered. Radio stations dedicated hours of programming to Bonnie's greatest songs, reminding listeners of the impact she had made over nearly 5 decades. Many fellow musicians also reached out privately to the family. Some had toured with Bonnie years earlier. Others had collaborated with her in recording studios or television appearances. Everyone understood that the music industry was facing the possible loss of one of its most distinctive voices. Then came the announcement no one wanted to hear. On July 8, 2026, Bonnie Tyler died in Faro, Portugal, surrounded by those closest to her. The official statement confirmed that she died from complications following emergency intestinal surgery despite every effort made by her medical team. Within hours, tributes poured in from every corner of the music world. Television specials celebrated her career. Radio stations played her biggest hits throughout the day. Fans gathered outside theaters and arenas where she had performed over the years, singing along to Total Eclipse of the Heart as candles flickered into the night. For the public, Bonnie Tyler would always be remembered as one of the greatest voices of her generation. For Robert Sullivan, however, the silence that followed her final performance was far more personal. In the days after her death, he stayed away from cameras and interviews, choosing instead to grieve privately. But eventually, he decided it was time to speak, not as the husband of a famous singer, but as the man who had shared more than 50 years of life with a woman the world simply knew as Bonnie Tyler. In the days following Bonnie Tyler's death, her husband, Robert Sullivan, stayed almost completely out of the public eye. That decision surprised no one who knew the couple. Throughout Bonnie's career, Robert had never sought attention for himself. He had always believed that the spotlight belonged to Bonnie, not to him. As tributes continued pouring in from around the world, reporters waited to hear from the man who had spent more than 50 years by her side. When Robert finally released a public statement through the family, his words were simple and deeply personal. He thanked the doctors, nurses, and hospital staff in Faro who had cared for Bonnie during her final weeks. He also thanked the millions of fans who had sent messages of love and support while she was in the hospital. Rather than talking about awards, chart success, or sold-out concerts, Robert focused on the woman he knew away from the stage. He remembered Bonnie as someone who loved quiet mornings, long conversations, and spending time with family more than celebrity events. He said that although the world knew her as a music legend, he knew her as the person who could always make him laugh, even during difficult times. The couple's story had begun long before international fame. They married in 1973, years before Total Eclipse of the Heart made Bonnie one of the biggest voices in popular music. As her career grew, so did the demands on her time. There were world tours, recording sessions, television appearances, and countless flights across continents. Through all of it, Robert remained her biggest supporter. Bonnie often said in interviews that she trusted Robert completely. He wasn't interested in being famous. Instead, he helped create a normal life whenever she returned home from touring. That balance became one of the reasons their marriage lasted more than 5 decades, something rare in the entertainment industry. Friends who knew the couple described them as devoted to each other. They enjoyed simple evenings together, meals with close friends, and time away from cameras. Bonnie loved performing, but she also loved coming home. Following her death, many musicians shared stories about Robert's quiet support over the years. Band members recalled seeing him backstage before concerts, encouraging Bonnie before she walked on stage. Producers remembered how protective he was of her health whenever she pushed herself too hard during tours. As fans searched online for dramatic revelations or hidden family secrets, none appeared. Robert's public remarks reflected grief, gratitude, and love, not scandal. He chose to remember Bonnie as his wife first and an international star second. As preparations were made to say goodbye, fans around the world continued honoring Bonnie Tyler in their own ways. Radio stations played her greatest hits. Streaming numbers for her classic songs climbed once again. Television programs revisited interviews from different stages of her career, reminding audiences how much joy she had brought to millions of people. Messages arrived from fellow musicians, actors, broadcasters, and fans spanning several generations. Many spoke about hearing Bonnie's songs for the first time as teenagers. Others remembered taking their children, or even grandchildren, to her concerts decades later. Her voice had crossed generations in a way few artists ever achieve. Family members asked for privacy as they gathered to mourn together. Their focus remained on celebrating Bonnie's life rather than turning her farewell into a public spectacle. The people closest to her remembered not only the performer but also the wife, sister, aunt, friend, and neighbor they had known for years. Robert Sullivan's final message to fans reflected that same spirit. He expressed heartfelt thanks for the kindness shown to Bonnie throughout her career and during her final illness. He said the love people had shown in those difficult weeks had brought comfort to the family. He also said he hoped listeners would continue playing Bonnie's music because that was how she would have wanted to be remembered. With people singing along, smiling, and enjoying the songs she loved performing. There was no attempt to turn his statement into a dramatic farewell. There were no shocking accusations or hidden confessions. Instead, there was the quiet voice of a husband saying goodbye to the woman who had shared most of his adult life. For more than 50 years, Robert Sullivan had stood beside Bonnie Tyler through success, disappointment, long tours, and quiet days at home. He had watched audiences cheer for her in arenas around the world. In the end, he was also there during the hardest chapter of her life, remaining by her side throughout her final hospitalization. Bonnie Tyler leaves behind a remarkable musical legacy. Her recordings continue to inspire singers, musicians, and fans around the world. Songs like It's a Heartache, Holding Out for a Hero, and Total Eclipse of the Heart remain part of popular culture decades after they were first released. Long after the headlines fade, those songs will continue to be played in homes, on road trips, at concerts, and on radio stations around the world. New listeners will discover the unmistakable voice that made Bonnie Tyler one of the most recognizable singers of her generation. And for Robert Sullivan, the memories extend far beyond the records and the applause. They are the memories of a lifetime spent with the woman he loved. A partnership built over more than 50 years that remained strong until her final day. Bonnie Tyler's voice may have fallen silent, but the songs she left behind continue to speak for her. Every time Total Eclipse of the Heart or It's a Heartache begins to play, it reminds people of the extraordinary talent that turned a young woman from Wales into one of the world's most unforgettable singers. For Robert Sullivan, the loss is deeply personal. For millions of fans, it's the end of an era. But while her life came to an end on July 8, 2026, her music continues to bring comfort, memories, and inspiration to people across generations. Bonnie Tyler once sang with a voice unlike any other, and that voice will continue to echo wherever her music is played.